Okay. So that's our topic at the top. Make sure that you head your notes. All right. So when we talk about, let's just do a quick review. Some general things that we know. Nouns and adjectives go together in Latin, correct? Yes. What do we call it when a noun and an adjective are going together? Agreement. Okay, so that's a term we need to be familiar with. Okay, and when there's agreement, what are the ways in which they agree? Caitlin?
Case, gender, and number.
Case, yep, gender, and number. Good. Okay, so those are all kind of like technical grammatical terms that we're going to use. What's another technical term? Like, let's say I have an adjective and it's describing a noun. What is that M word? That also means kind of describing. Yes, modifying. Okay, so modifying, describing are interchangeable. Agreement is when a noun and an adjective match. Okay, now here's my question to you. Do the endings have to look the same for them to agree? No. Okay, good. And at least you kind of like keep that in your head. All right, so let's talk about what that means. All right, so in our vocabulary list for this chapter, actually, let me pull it up. I forgot what the word was. Okay, so let's take a look from the chapter 18 vocab. Excuse me, that was really gross. All right, we've got the word obesus, obesa, obesum. Okay, macrons on all of those. All right, what type of adjective is this? What kind of adjective? Like, what does it look like it's going to pull its endings from? First and second declension. So this is a prime example of first and second declension adjectives. Okay? So naturally, first and second declension adjectives pull their endings from first and second declension. So if you know those, you're A-okay. It's just kind of restructured, right? Oh my goodness, so icky. All right, now you've been introduced to a new type of adjective. Man, my voice is changing. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, fortis, fortis, forte, meaning brave or strong. Sorry.
Do you think maybe we should play book it so you can rest your voice?
Nice try. Oh my god. This is something. Okay.
I think you need to take
Which one of you cursed me? Okay, now, remember, can nouns change their gender? No. So adjectives have to have the ability to be either masculine, feminine, or neuter. So the adjectives are the ones that change, right? That's why we've got obesus, obesa, and obesum. All right, what are the three genders again? Masculine, feminine, and neuter. And when they give you the adjective, that's the order they give it to you in, right? Obesus, whoops, sorry, that was an eraser. Obesus, that's masculine form. Obesa, feminine, and obesum, neuter. Okay, now what you've noticed about fortis, fortis, forte, are there three forms?
Yeah. Well, yes, there are. But
Yes, and that accounts for the three genders. So fortis is going to be your masculine, fortis is also going to be your feminine, and forte is going to be your neuter. Okay, what some dictionaries will do is they'll just truncate and they'll say, because fortis and fortis just repeats for the masc and fem, whoops, not fert, fortis, they'll just do it like this, fortis, forte, right? Because fortis just repeats, okay? But essentially, based on the title of this grammar discussion, where am I gonna pull these endings from? Third declension. Yeah, so this is an example of a third declension adjective. Okay. Now. Let's go through and we're gonna format, let's make a chart. Let's make a chart in our notes if we can. Can I scroll past this? Are we good? Okay. So let's do our first and second declension adjectives, and then we'll do our third declension adjectives, but we'll make two separate charts. Okay. So let's do it this way. We're gonna have 4 columns. Come on.
How many rows?
A lot. Yeah, just kind of keep adding as we go. Okay. All right, so we're gonna put the case here. And this column is for the masculine. This column is for the feminine. And this column is for the neuter. Okay. Now we're gonna take care of singular first. Okay, so this is nominative. We'll just abbreviate. Okay, let's go straight across. Let's do let's do a different one. Let's do noster, shall we? Because the word is noster, nostra, nostrum. So they're gonna get, aside from the first one, which is kind of strange, all right, it's just gonna be okay, so that's our nominative, singular. Okay. What case comes next? Genitive, good. Okay. Now, to form this, right, all you're really doing, you need to figure out what the stem is. Okay, so ignore the masculine one. Usually you can get it from the masculine form, but because noster is kind of weird, it's not like nostrus. It's not as regular. So let's take a look at nostra. Okay, what is my stem? Or what is my ending on that word? So the ending is a, so my stem is nostr. Okay, so for a genitive, we're gonna put nostri. Okay. Now, what's my genitive singular feminine? Nostri. Okay, and then what's my neuter genitive? Nostri again. Okay. And it's kind of weird because now, like when we do this, we're kind of jumping around in our noun ending charts.
So I have to
So you have to kind of like think it through. Actually, what might be easier, maybe we'll just do it that way. So nom gen. We'll make our columns and we'll just go down, right? That makes more sense to do it that way. Okay, date. Ac. We won't worry about the vocative because the vocative is the same as the nominative.
Except
Yay.
in masculine.
Yeah, except in this masculine second declension singular. Like marque. Okay, so let's go through our masculine column here. All right, noster, nostri, os, e, what comes next? Nostro. What comes next? Nostrum. And what comes next? Nostro again. Okay. Now, let's do the feminine singular. So we've got nostra, nostri. What comes next? Nostri. Nostra, what? Nostrum. And finally, careful. Nostra with a macron, ablative. Okay, now let's do our neuter. E, O, so it's nostro. What comes next? Nostrum. And finally, nostro. Good. Okay, so that's our singular. All right, now let's do the plural. Okay, let's kind of format that. Can I scroll? Like, do you guys have enough? Is that okay? Yeah, okay. So we'll do nom, we'll do the same thing. We'll go through kind of collectively gen. Date. Ac. And ab. We'll make this just a little bigger.
Wait, what's the purpose of the dative again?
Indirect object, 2 or 4.
Oh, I remember that. Okay,
Yeah. Okay, so now let's do our masculine column. All right, so we had us, I, o, o. Now nost what? Nostri. Nost. Orum. Nost. Is. Nost. Os. And nost. Is. Okay, now let's do our feminine. We've got a, nost, I, good. Nost, arum, okay. Nost, is, nost, as, and finally nostris. Okay, next. Okay, we've got our neuter. I, o. What comes next? Nostr, good. Nostr, orum. Nostris. Nostr, nostris. Okay, and that's it. These are the only forms aside from the vocative that we didn't include for this particular first and second declension adjective. So you do guys kind of understand like how it's formed? Like you gotta just pop off the ending and add on your first and second declension endings.
That makes sense now.
Okay, makes a little more sense, good. All right, now the last thing that I definitely need to mention.
Is book it.
No, it's not plug-in.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I have been dreaming about it.
Well, that's good, I guess.
I dreamed that like I was like running a cafe and this ice cube walked in and asked for 300 yogurt, and I was like, what?
You sure a horse didn't walk into the bar and say, hey, why the long face? No?
I mean that makes sense,
But it wasn't funny? Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
can you give me 2 more seconds?
can I give you 2 more seconds? Yes, I can.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
For the masculine singular nominative, isn't it O-C-O?
It is, but remember, they're in the masculine second declension. I'm going to scroll just a little bit up. There are 2 types of words that can exist, right? So we've got a word like, well, think of it this way, right? So puer, pueri, masculine, right? Sometimes those second declension endings, like that nominative one, ends in an R, not a US. But it's more common, aside from like a couple of exceptions, like puer, ager, or wir. Usually it's going to end in us, like dominus, domini, amicus, amici, kind of deal. Yeah, good question though. Okay, so this happens to, and look at the dictionary too. The dictionary will tell you that. So like typically you have magnus, magna, magnum. That's very regular and that's very normal. But noster, for whatever reason, this adjective, the masculine form, ends in an R rather than an us. Okay, so that's the only place where it's kind of weird. Everything else is the same. Okay, May I?
Mhm.
Okay.
Is there like a specific reason why they chose like some words to be weird?
If there is, I don't know of it, the reason. And I feel like, I mean, especially being a native English speaker, I feel like English is one of those languages full of exceptions. Latin is a little bit like that too, and Greek especially. Greek is very much like that. So they just, but why there are exceptions, I don't know. And unfortunately, we don't have native speakers to ask, which stinks, because they all died. Except for the Pope. The Pope still speaks it. I guess we could ask him.
Wait, who speaks? What?
Yeah, and he tweets in Latin too.
Who?
The Pope.
Wait, who?
There's, yeah, for real. So I think, I don't know if it's the actual like legitimate language of the Vatican, but the Vatican still uses Latin actively.
Wait, but do they speak it or do they just like write?
They can. At least as far as I know. Like they have mass in Latin sometimes. You could do that. You can go to Latin mass. I did once. It was pretty cool.
So there's this. That would be so fun. We should take a field trip to go to a Latin mass.
That would be cool.
How
Woo!
rewriting this?
All right, I'll think about it. That sounds awesome. Okay. So the next we're going to talk about is third declension adjectives, and where do the third declension adjectives get their endings from?
The first and second.
What?
No.
No, not the first and second, the third declension. Yeah. Okay. So let's take omnis, omne. Okay. And what is, do you guys remember, you just learned this one. What does it mean? Mm-hmm. All. Okay. So let's kind of format our chart. Again, we're going to do it the same thing. So we're going to need 4 columns
And a bunch of rows.
and a bunch of rows. Yeah.
Like the nominative, genitive.
Yep. Nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, but make sure you leave room for like the 3 genders. So we'll have up top masculine. D. Feminine. And
Still
neuter.
in trouble throwing space ones.
Same. Okay. So now let's go through. Actually, let's make all our rows first, because that seemed to be a little bit easier. That would be really funny. It's like, hi, my name is Jen. Is that short for Jennifer? No, it's short for genitive. My parents really like Latin grammar.
They look at you like you're crazy.
But we are.
We are?
We are crazy.
Oh.
We're the Latin kids.
Yeah, the Latin kids are super weird. But I appreciate it. Because I am one.
Is it what?
Because I am one. I am a Latin kid. I was also super weird. Okay. So once you guys have your charts formatted, let's go through and do this.
I'm so hungry.
Same.
I feel dead.
Don't feel dead.
No, because AMC is in
Just take a couple deep breaths. It'll be all right. Okay, let's go through. Let's do the masculine column first. So I'll feed it to you. Well, let's do, actually, sorry. So omnis, omne. Whoops, not omi. It's omne. Okay. Now, in this particular example, all right, let's go through the masculine first. What are my third declension endings? It's ex, is. So we're going to write omnis. Okay, what's the dative? Ex, is, e. So omni. Omnem. Okay, now technically it's omne, but here it's going to be Wait a minute, is that even right? Oh.
Omne.
Yeah, X, E, E, M. It should be A. Why is it not? All right, well, I'll investigate that. So the ablative masculine's kind of weird. Yes?
Would masculine and feminine be it's like,
You stole my thunder, my dear, but yes, masculine and feminine are going to be the same in this particular example. Okay, so we can go ahead and just write all the singulars out in the feminine column to be the same as the masculine. Whoops, not omne, it's omni. Okay. All right, now let's do the plural. Okay, so X, E, M, A. What comes next?
Ace.
Yep, omnes, and we'll just do that in the feminine as well. Okay, now what comes next? Ace, Now the only difference here is it's going to be omnium, I-U-M, instead of just U-M. So it's going to look like this. Okay, so pay careful attention there. Don't just write omnum, it's omnium.
Well, omnium sounds really weird.
Right, that's why. It sounds weird. So instinctually you know that that's got to be a weird form. And that's a good thing. Okay, ace, ibus. Okay, so omnibus. And we'll do that for the feminine as well. Okay. Okay, X, E, M, A, ace, ibus, ace. Good. Okay, X, E, M, A, ace, ibus, ace, ibus. Good. Okay. Okay, now let's just pop through our neuters real quick. Okay, so we've got omne. Now, what's the neuter rule? The nominative is the same as the accusative, right? So we're gonna put, I heard vocative, and technically that is true. But we're gonna put omne here in the accusative. Now let's fill out the rest. So it's X, omnis, omni, omne, and then omni again. Okay, now we'll do our plural. This one, again, is a little weird. What would typically be the ending for my nominative plural? It would technically be right? But here, because in the remember in the genitive plural, we put I-U-M instead of just U-M? It's ia. So it's not just gonna be oma, like omna, it's omnia. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing, omnium, not just omnum. Okay, and then we've got omnibus, omnia, and omnibus again. Okay, so essentially what you're doing is you're just finding the stem and you're adding on your either first and second declension endings or your third declension endings to whatever adjective it is. Okay, now adjectives don't change declension though. So if I have magnus, magna, magnum, what declension adjective is that? Magnus, magna, magnum. That's a first and second declension adjective. I cannot, under any circumstances, put third declension adjective endings on a first and second declension adjective. Okay, in the same way that like omnis, like this one that we just did, I can't put first and second declension endings on omnis, omnis, omne. Okay, so they don't cross like that, and nouns don't do that either, right? A noun is what declension it is, and that's it. It doesn't change. Same thing with adjectives. Okay, does that kind of make sense to y'all? Fortase?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, fortase means perhaps. Okay, so your homework this weekend is going to be a worksheet. Oh shoot, David, that will be yours. Okay. All it's doing, all I'm asking you to do, all right, there are some nouns at the top. I've given you the gender and the declension. Your job is to figure out in that middle column what the case and number of that noun is, and then you have to pick the appropriate adjective. And you actually have these in your notes now because I had you define both adjectives that you need. You're welcome. Okay, so we've done most of the work already. Alright, so two things are due on Monday. This and your vocab, either flashcard or list it. Okay?
I need to get more index cards.
Each. All right, good work, soldiers. Have a wonderful